Welcome to Clay's Cortex.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the next episode of Clay's Cortex. I'm actually really excited for this because I think it can carry over across all aspects of our life, job, family, whatever it is, this topic. And we could probably go deeper into this. I kind of just want to give some examples we might carry on. If you don't know what topic I'm talking about today, because you don't follow me on Instagram, it's on Clay's Cortex. That's the username, Clay's Cortex on Instagram. You'll see a brain. I drew a brain, and that's the logo. Or if you want to figure that out, check me out on Instagram. Or you can also go to the website, which will lead you towards the topic we're talking about. So, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the next episode of Clay's Cortex, the podcast, or Inside My Mind, Curtis. So, what we're going to be talking about today is I think that this topic can cover all aspects of life. So, life, your job, business, family, training, athletics, so forth. And relationships that you build and or have throughout your lifespan here on this earth. And if you don't know the topic we're talking about, I post about it on Instagram. The username is Clay's Cortex. You can see I'll post before I actually release the actual episode, topics I'm going to be going over that week and so forth. So let's get into this. If you saw the post on Instagram, you know that I'm going to be talking about reputation. And when people hear that, they think about your reputation or my reputation or so forth, so forth. But I'm going to carry that across all different topics that I talk about on this podcast, which is training, business, and life. But before we get into that, okay, I'm going to read the definitions. There's two definitions that I found that are related to or talk about reputation and define them. The second one really stuck out to me, but let me read the first one first, okay? So, reputation, the beliefs or opinions that are generally held about someone or something, okay? Second one, a widespread belief that someone or something has a particular habit or characteristic. And the thing that stuck out to me in that second one is someone or something that has a particular characteristic. That's how we view each other, right? What's their character? Or how I've heard it said is, what's their fruit in their life? Are you able to see that there's sustenance to that fruit? Are they producing good fruit, healthy fruit, so forth? What's your reputation? If I use that analogy, the tree that's growing the fruit, how quality is that tree? And are they giving back by producing fruit, right? So let's get into characteristics. The thing I want you to think about when going through this podcast is, what is my characteristic? And do I know the traits and characteristics of myself? And along with that too, each different topic we talk about, could I potentially apply that or make a change to help my reputation or how people view me in a better light? And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you become approachable, if people view you in a certain light, and people talk about everybody, right? Like, I'm not a big fan of gossip. I have my opinions and that kind of stuff, and there's times when I talk about stuff and don't, or I'll talk about some people that I trust and be real with them because I know I can trust them, so forth. Are they trustworthy, right? Their characteristic or reputation is that they're trustworthy. They've shown that to me over time. The one person I really confide in a lot is my wife, Jackie. She was on a couple past podcasts. She'll be on another one. Do you have somebody that you trust that you can talk to almost refine yourself, right? So we're going to be talking about reputation and what your reputation is and how a reputation can impact you getting a job, your son or daughter making the team, right? Whatever team they want to play, you being able to excel at life, whether it's having better relationships or better friends and so forth. What's your reputation, and can that be impacted, and can that, like an organism, adapt, grow, shift, be stagnant, and so forth? So let's get into what kind of sparked this. I don't watch a lot of football. I like watching college football. I don't watch a lot of NFL football. I watch highlights and so forth, but I have probably seen more alerts from football this year than any other year. And that's all due to the fact of the antics or the actions of Antonio Brown, right? I don't know the guy. I have nothing against him. He's probably one of the top 5 receivers in the league, probably be in the Hall of Fame one day, right? Do I think he's a little misunderstood? Yes. Do I think that he's still trying to figure himself out like we all are? Yeah, potentially, which is fine, right? But if I look at that, right, he's one of the best receivers in the league, but the antics or things that he's done, I would say in the past year and a half to 2 years, has impacted his ability to be able to play on the field. So if you don't know the story, let me just walk you through it. He was playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? Wasn't happy there, essentially. Got picked up by Oakland, okay? Got a massive contract. Didn't do well there, right? Oakland released him. New England Patriots picked them up, and you're like, oh my gosh, this dude's going to get a ring, right? Patriots are good, so forth, so forth. Plays one game for them because he signed after he could play that next Sunday. Plays one game for them, they release him or cut him. Again, this guy is one of the best receivers. His last game in the league was stupid. He had a crazy legit game, and they're like, oh my gosh, Antonio Brown's back, blah, blah, blah. But he's had some off-field antics happen, right? Now, that's a huge thing. His off-field actions and antics and his reputation, along with actions, I think I said actions already, have shown that teams don't want to deal with that. No team wants to deal with that, right? It's like, because of his reputation, no team wants to hire him to play the sport that he loves and is really good at because of his off-field antics and actions, right? So that's what kind of sparked this whole talk, and I'm going to talk about it across all 3 topics I talk about in this podcast. So let's get into the next phase of this, and let's just cruise right into athletics or training, right? So I'm going to group those together, whether it's athletics, training, so forth. So we're talking about that. If you got a son or daughter, and they want to play for a certain team, right? And they don't make the team, you're like, dude, I felt like they were the best player here, so forth. And say you go meet with the coach. You're like, hey, well, I thought that, little Johnny was probably one of the best. And I know I'm biased because my son, but I thought he was one of the best athletes here, right? And the coach says, yeah, but he has a bad attitude. Or he's not coachable. Or she gossips a lot. Or he gossips a lot. That kid's reputation or your son or daughter's reputation is being started at an early age, right? Because parents talk. I know it. I've seen it. They talk. Coaches will hear about it. People have opinions on other kids, which I think is rough to talk about somebody else's kid. I get that. Not a fan of it. But your reputation is being built from a young age. It's continued to go on, especially with sports and athletics. So if you want to make a team, make the AAU team, club sport, whatever it is, you want to make that team, you've got to make sure your reputation is good. It doesn't mean you should obsess over it, but how you can control what your reputation is that you've got a good attitude. You work hard. You show up. I mean, that's a big one, being able to show up, right? You're reliable and so forth, so forth, so forth. If your reputation is along that board or along that line, you can essentially probably make that team, right? If you're somebody that shows up, wants to get better every day, they're probably going to take that kid because they're coachable versus the kid that's never there, really good, exceptional athlete. And along that time, that's what people are going to start to realize them as. They're just an exceptional athlete that doesn't really try and blah, 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 blah. Not to say that that's the case all the time. So you athletes or parents of athletes, their attitude and reputation is starting at such a young age. So encourage them to be above reproach. Encourage them to be better, right? Like, go from there. Now, let me go on the flip side because I want to come from this a 2-pronged approach. I've heard stories of teams not taking an athlete due to the fact that the parent is unreasonable. So the parents' reputations are also playing a factor in that. When it comes to youth sports, high school and down, so forth, where you've got to try out, make a team, so forth, right? So parents, your attitudes also impact the ability of your son or daughter to play on that team. Because if you're an unreasonable parent, like we've seen those videos online, right? Parents getting in fights at games, punching each other at like a 10-year-old softball game, but it's like, what is going on, right? That will carry along with your son or daughter too. So it's a 2-pronged approach. It's a team approach from the beginning. How can you as a parent be there as an advocate for your son or daughter, but not overstep in a way to where it's like, man, I'm stepping on their toes, I know better, so forth, so forth. Like, if you didn't trust the coach, why did you let them play for that team, right? So I can go deeper into that. So your reputation can impact the teams that you make. You may be a legit athlete. Your son or daughter might be exceptional, but they don't make the team because their attitude's poor, or they throw bats, or they cuss on the court, or they play dirty on the football field, or they slide tackle inappropriately, right? Like headhunters. That can start to trickle along the way. Parents, if you're out of hand, that can also impact your son or daughter making the team. And like, if I step into my role, right, like I'm a parent now, and I've only been for 2 years. My daughter Light doesn't play sports, any of that, right? Like she likes to play with blocks and run around at the gym and meet people. Like she loves people. But I look at it now like talking about this and thinking about this, I don't want to get in the way as a parent overstepping my bounds that will limit her playing on teams she wants to play on, doing dance recitals that she wants to do. I mean, whatever she ends up doing, ballet, violin, you know, whatever, she might play music. And I don't want to get in the way of being that overbearing parent that could impact them getting the opportunities that they could have. I don't want to limit them, right? So that's a tough thing as a parent because you want the best for your kid. I totally get that. I want the best for my daughter. My wife wants the best for our daughter. And so it's like we don't want to overstep. We want to allow her to go on her journey and be there to support her. So that's a two-pronged approach. Athletes, your guys' reputation and actions on the field, off the field, impact whether you play on the field or make that team. So for parents, your guys' actions too impact the kids, and we know that, right? So just want to encourage you guys with that. Take a step back, reflect on that, because I have to do that all the time, right? If I look at life, right, when it comes to life, let's just talk about building relationships or getting friends and so forth. Do you have a negative attitude? Do you have a positive attitude? Are you a hard worker? Are you lazy? Are you complacent? Do you complain a lot or do you not complain? All those factors can impact who you hang out with, right? So we've heard that whole saying, essentially, you know, you are who your friends are, right? Like who you surround yourself, the circle you surround yourself is important because it's a reflection of you and so forth, because that mindset is gonna uplift you, right? Like we've all met those people that are energy, like they call them energy suckers or energy vampires or whatever term you want to call them. I don't want it to be that negative, right? But people that just drain energy from you, right? All the time. They don't give it back. They don't encourage you. They don't, or whatever it may be, right? You bring up ideas, they don't bring ideas back, and you're trying to do a team effort or whatever it is. If you want to make friendships or build relationships, your energy and how you are, whether you're a negative person, you're probably not going to be around a lot of positive people. You'll be around probably mostly negative people. If you're a positive person, you'll probably be around positive people, but you might want some people that are critical to help you be better at those things, right? Like, it's good to be super positive all the time, but there's times like life's tough, and it's okay to be real about that, right? Your friends, if your friend complains all the time, and you try to give them solutions, like, hey, let me help you with this, and you're just like, dude, I just don't want to do this anymore because I've given them every different idea that they can do, but they're not really accepting it or receiving it, right? So how you're perceived or your reputation amongst your friends, who you're probably around a lot, right? That is going to impact whether they want to be around you anymore. Are you somebody that's a giving person? Do you help people? Are you encouraging? Are you real with people? That's probably a big one. Are you real, right? I think that us being real with one another is crucial. If you're kind of like surfacey, you're probably going to have some real surfacey friends, and you're like, why do I not have any deep friendships, right? So your reputation of how you are, you're going to get that same thing, right? So you can look in the mirror and be like, that's the type of person I'm going to attract or be around. Am I a negative person? I'm probably going to attract other negative people that like to complain. Am I a positive person? I'm probably around other positive people that like to encourage, help, so forth, right? So your reputation that way, based off your actions over time, like it says, someone or something that has a characteristic, right? That's that definition. So who you're around on a consistent, or who you are on a consistent basis is probably who you're going to be around the most, right? Because it's comfortable. We like to be comfortable, which is fine. Let's get into business or life. Business and life? Nah, just business. Or a job, right? So you may run your own business, right? If you do, running your own business, having a good reputation is crucial. You should, like for me, I have to provide a good service, but along with that too, my reputation, the environment that's here, that trickles out to people making decisions, right? Is he an intelligent trainer? Yeah, he's really good. Is he a mean person? Yeah, they're probably not going to come in, right? Can you provide a good service and be a really great person? Yeah, you're probably going to have a really, really good reputation, right? Doesn't mean you can be slacking on like the skill that you're providing. Like if I go to, I don't know, Let me give you an example. In this area here, we've got 2 hardware stores. One of them is Home Depot. Home Depot's great, I'm not bashing them. And we've got McClendon's, right? McClendon's is a little bit smaller. The staff is usually pretty helpful. And I get it. Home Depot is massive, right? Like to get help or help with the project or whatever it is, it takes time. They're trying to help so many people. I totally get that. So I like to go to McClendon's because I wasn't super handy. I'm very handy now. But until I got this gym and I had to hang stuff and build stuff, and I wasn't very good with tools. Like I knew a little bit. My grandfather taught me some, but I didn't know a whole lot. And so I like going to McClendon's because of the fact that it's a smaller environment, they're very personable, and they're super helpful. And if they recommend something, like I had something happen, I had to drill something into the cement wall here. And I went in, I was like, hey dude, that thing that you recommended me isn't working. He goes, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you came back. Curtis, right? Yeah, that's my name. I'm glad you came back because right when you left the store, I was like, that's not the anchor he needed. And again, they didn't have my phone number or anything. He was just hoping I came back. I came back and he's like, dude, this is what you need. No cost. Let's go to the front. Go do it. Come back. Let me know if it worked well. I'm really sorry about that for wasting your time. I was like, dude, it's okay. But his willingness to help me, I was like, I'm going to go back there. I'm going to totally do that because he was out there helping me, right? Went above and beyond. So their reputation in McClendon, especially in this area, is that's where you want to go if you really want some help, if you're confused on something. Do you need something ordered, exactly what you ordered? They will totally help you. Their customer service is high. Now, if you look at the business plan of Home Depot, it's a bigger store. I get that, right? And so it's hard to provide really good customer service. Everybody's trying to provide good customer service. So I like both stores because of the fact that Home Depot has wood. McClendon's doesn't unless I order it out, so which is fine, right? Because I have projects and ideas and I like to create stuff and I want stuff right away sometimes. But I love going to McClendon's because of the experience that I get there. The reputation precedes itself. When it comes to, hey, you want something that's personal, that's really going to help you, I'm going to go to McClendon's when it comes to hardware stuff, right? Now, in job or business, if I go back to the first one in life, like I think I talked about it, whether the person's a hard worker or they're lazy, right? That is a trait, a characteristic. If I'm going to hire somebody here at the gym, or I want somebody, or I'm going to, like, yeah, cool, come work here, it's great. Are they a hard worker? Are they professional? Do they have these, is their reputation good to where when they're in this building, they fit in with the team here perfectly, synonymously. We feed off each other. That's something businesses want, or companies that are hiring you want. Or if you have a business, you got to be that, just like McClendon's. You've got to be great customer service, above reproach. Your reputation is helping you grow your business because of who you are and how you do that on a consistent basis. But if you're not a hard worker and you go to a job, you get a job, or say it's the beginning of your career and you're not a hard worker, they're going to be like, dude, this is not going to work out for you, right? Or if you're a hard worker, they might be like, dude, love it. This guy's awesome. Some guy might be a hard worker, really good at what he does or what she does, and they're just like rude to everybody. They're just rude. They might not get that job, right? Or maybe they're interning in the beginning, like, nah, they're not going to be a good fit. So the people are watching you, and what's hard is they're watching you and your actions and your words over time and how you react to situations, and they're building in their mind their personal view of your reputation. They're almost trying to frame you to figure out who you are, because we're all trying to figure each other out. Let's be real, right? Dudes go to the gym, say like a Gold Gym or a commercial gym, and they're like walking like, who's the biggest dude in here? They're going to size them up a little bit, right? Or, girls like, oh my gosh, I go get my dress or I get my outfit for the gym and I want to fit really well, and do I look the best here, right? We're always sizing each other up. That's a physical attribute. We're also doing that intellectually. We're doing it all the time, right? It's wired in us. So when it comes to business and your reputation, if you don't have a good reputation, your business will not grow. People will come in maybe once, might not come back. But the goal is, if you want people to help when it comes to training, help them. When it comes to training, it takes time, it takes sessions to get people feeling better, moving better, so forth, to reach their goals, get stronger. But if you get the vibe essentially that like they're going to be in and out real quick, that might not be a good fit. And if they view you potentially as like, oh my gosh, they're the trainer that like gives me miracle exercises, or like the last podcast gives out magic exercises so I feel 10 times better. Yeah, I mean, if that's how they're coming in based off of how people are talking about you, they're like, oh, he's a one-stop shop, they fix you really fast, that might not be a good fit. Because if you want a reputation of, I'm somebody that can walk alongside you when it comes to training and do really well over time, that might be the person I want to work with. That's the reputation you want. So your reputation when it comes to jobs, you leaving a job, going to get another job, you trying to get to different companies, so forth, whatever it may be, if your reputation is bad, it's going to impact that. It's going to impact your overall reputation. But I guess what's really cool about this, your reputation is like, it's like water, okay? And the cool thing about water is it has a couple different states that it can be in, right? It's got steam when it's really hot, right? And that can go on a continuum. Then you've got, just water, which is the middle, and then we've got ice. Those three things. And there's obviously a spectrum in between those. But say, for example, you're an angry person and people think of you as an angry person, or say you're an athlete on the field and you have a bad attitude. Say in baseball, you strike out, you come in, throw your helmet, throw your bat. That's what you do on a regular basis. That's who people see who you are. You might be that steam, right? You're there for a bit but kind of fade away. But you want to be sustainable. So you can start to write the narrative or change the state of how people view your reputation. You can be steam, right? Hot, angry, throwing bats, cussing on the court. And you can be like, you know what? I need to make a change. But before that change happens, you have to acknowledge that this is something I need to work on, right? To allow doors to open more and more for me based off my reputation. So if you're steam, you can do actual actions or things to change the state of that liquid, or in this case or analogy, the liquid is your reputation. We could take steam, right? How do we get steam to not be steam? Well, you can just cool the water down. And that's an intentional act that you do, just like an intentional act of, you know what? If I get frustrated on the field, I'm not going to go in the dugout and throw my helmet. If I make a mistake, I'm not going to cuss, right? As an athlete. And you start to do that over time, your reputation in the state of that can change to a more positive view in this scenario. That's the beauty, is that actions and words working together help build a reputation. And you are in control of that. You're in control of your reputation, how people perceive you. That's what's super cool about this. And I think the thing is if you're not aware of why you're doing certain things, that's when your reputation might not be in your control. Because if you know as a person, you worked hard, you did really well, you had a great attitude, and people talk bad about you, that's a whole other topic we can talk about, right? People are like, oh, haters are my motivators, blah, blah, blah. That might be another podcast we're talking about. But you're in control, and if you know that those are the things that you did over time, and you're consistent with being locked in, and that's the reputation that I want. If you're consistent with that over time, you have nothing to be ashamed of. You have nothing to worry about, right? But the first step to changing your reputation in the light or manner that you want is you have to call it out, right? You have to call it out and say, this is what I'm doing. I want to make a change. Let's do this. So you have to accept and acknowledge that first. And then the cool thing is when you call it out and speak it out, you can use your words to start to prompt actions. And then over time, you can let your actions speak more than your words. And that in turn will impact how people view you and your reputation and who you are, the characteristics that you possess, and that can impact you in training, exercise, athletics, business, and life. So, I hope that was encouraging. I hope that you realize that you are in control of your reputation. You're in control of your actions. And if you want to change it, right? But don't let your reputation get in the way of you seizing opportunities down the road because you've got a bad reputation, right? So, thanks for listening. That is episode number, I think it's 8, and it's reputation. If you like this podcast, please share it on iTunes, comment on it, like it. Go to Podbean, you can like it there. Or if you want to watch it on YouTube, Clay's Cortex, search it, it'll pop up for you. Every single episode's also recorded or videotaped. So if you like it, please share it. If it's helpful, share it. I'd really appreciate that because I just want to educate, get people to think when it comes to these 3 different topics. So thanks for watching. Curtis Clay, signing out.